to Iga Motylska. I think that's how you say her surname, but we will check with her. I've had a bad weekend with surnames. Please forgive me. She's a freelance journalist with bylines in over 65 local and international publications, has contributed to 2 international guidebooks on Africa, and is the editor of Iga Journeys website. She joins us now for more perspective on autism, particularly in terms of when it comes to traveling with children who have been diagnosed with autism. Iga, I wrote down how to pronounce your surname, but as sometimes happens in live TV, the nerves kick in and everything unravels. So let me try that again. Iga Motylska. Is that possible?
Iga Motylska.
Thank you.
I know it's a toughie.
No, I have lots of toughies in this job. I really should be doing better, and will strive to. Let's get to autism. Can you just give us some sense of the condition and what it means for one's way of moving through the world and thinking, really?
Certainly, and I think it's so important to talk about it today because April commemorates World Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month and also looks to those who have neurodivergence to try ease their way in the world, as you mentioned. And it's so encouraging to see that the travel sector is trying to accommodate those individuals to try and make it a little bit more accessible and inclusive. And so essentially Autism Spectrum Disorder, or ASD, is a neurological and developmental disability. And it's caused by differences in the brain and essentially how it processes the world. And it's a spectrum. So on different days and in different circumstances, different individuals might need different kinds of accommodations and considerations. And there's a saying that goes, if you know one person with autism, you know one person with autism. And that's, of course, because everyone's experiences are very different. And so individuals with autism might have difficulties with social communication or making of eye contact and interactions, particularly with strangers. They may also have different ways of learning and moving, paying attention and making sense of the world. And individuals with this neurological condition could also have pronounced sensitivities to smells and food, loud noises, flashing and bright lights, for example. And so very often social situations can be quite challenging and anxiety-provoking for them.
Certainly in terms of change quite a difficult thing to navigate for all of us, but nuanced in particular ways if one is living with autism, whether an adult or a child. And travel is all about change. You change your location, you might change your country, your routine gets thrown into disarray, hopefully for the best reasons. How can the travel industry help people with autism, maybe particularly children, navigate that in a way that is most comfortable?
Yeah, so that's such a great question. I'm actually writing an article at the moment exactly about that, about trying to be more inclusive and trying to do away with those abrupt, sometimes deroutings. And so what I did is I spoke to Antoinette Turner. She's the general manager at Flight Centre. I've also spoken to a number of individuals who have ASD. And essentially, they explained how a travel agent can help your family be seated in the area of an aircraft where there are fewer passengers, for example, like in the bulkhead. They may also ask for priority boarding and disembarkation. A travel agent can also submit these special requests directly to the airline and to various travel sector individuals on your behalf, on a parent's behalf. So that's one fewer thing that they have to worry about. But of course, sometimes people have no other choice but staying in a hotel or a large establishment. And so a travel agent may also help to book autism-friendly hotels, or perhaps suggest a room in a quieter part of the hotel without as much foot traffic. We're also seeing a rise in more autism-friendly rooms where the lights are dimmer and there's minimal decor, and of course that helps to prevent any kind of overstimulation. But I think besides just communicating your family's needs from like private transfers and in-room dining or golf court transfers across the property, there are so many other things that they can do. One of the things is perhaps suggesting that you travel to your destination of choice during low season, when it's not as busy outside of school holidays. They can help determine peak times in different destinations that you can do so. And then, of course, shorter queues and quieter airplanes, all of that contributes to so much more of an enjoyable travel experience. But I think the most important thing that travel agents can help with is booking experiences to galleries or museums, aquariums, theme parks, before they open or even after they've closed to the public. And of course, a travel agent will have this kind of inside information and those industry relationships to do so, which just make travel so much easier and more enjoyable experiences for those on the spectrum.
Sure, really interesting, because it sounds like it's a matter of doing the opposite of this maxim, which is failing to plan is planning to fail. So really ensuring that you plan properly and maybe get the insight and benefit of the contacts that come from working with a travel agent. Just quickly, we are closing off the interview, but can you tell us what the Sunflower Scheme is?
Yes, so many public spaces around the world and around airports are doing away with boarding calls over the intercom system. And a travel agent, for example, can help you organize an airport staff to usher your family through the terminals and security checkpoints, as well as passport control, which means that they don't have to stand in queues. And of course, so if you're traveling internationally, it's really well worthwhile looking to see if the airport is part of the Sunflower Scheme. It asks individuals who want to disclose that they have a hidden or an invisible disability to wear a green lanyard with sunflowers around their neck. And this obviously helps airport staff provide appropriate assistance and support in that way. And of course, you'll see that people might also have badges. They might maybe have T-shirts or jumpers and jerseys, that say, oh, I have a hidden disability. Just I think for all of us as travelers ourselves as well, and just individuals, to be so much more mindful of that and accepting and helpful. And I really recommend looking online. There's some really great resources. If I may just mention that there's autismspeaks.org. There's also the autismsociety.org. And right here in South Africa, we've got Ought to Know. That's AUT, the numeral 2, and know as in knowledge.co.za. So there's lots of interesting info out there online.
A beautiful note to end on, that idea of being more mindful of the many people living with disabilities, seen or unseen, in and amongst all of us, and to treat one another with care, compassion, and provide support where we can. Iga Motylska, thank you very much for your time on that matter.